Okay, we're graphing vertex form of a quadratic, which means we're dealing with parabolas. So we have our two questions here. We're going to graph this one, which is going to give us a stretched parabola, and this one will give us one that's compressed, and that's in reference to our original. So we're going to talk about how to graph the original, and that'll help us in terms of graphing the other two. We know the vertex of the original is going to be at the origin, 0 and 0. And what we do from there is we always travel from the vertex. So if I go to the 1 to the right from the vertex, I take 1 and I square that value. And that'll tell me how high to go up. Well, 1 squared is still 1. So I go over 1 and up 1. And that's my first point. Because parabolas are symmetrical, I do the exact same thing on the other side. And if I was to actually calculate it, it'd be like going back 1, which is -1, squared, which is +1. So I go to the left 1, up 1. Same idea. So let's just work in the positive range, and then we'll just draw the symmetry on the left. So the next step, we go back to the vertex, and we go over 2 values. 2 squared is 4. So I go over 2, and I go up 4 units.
Oh.
Symmetrical on the other side. So then if I were to go over 3, how many would I go up?
Equal 9.
9.
So that's just for the regular.
That's for the regular. And really, technically on the regular, we do have an A value. The A value is 1, so it doesn't change the movement up. But in this one here, we're going to do it in red, is -3. So first let's find the vertex. What's the vertex of this guy? -5 and 7. That's right. We looked right here at the H and K. We did the opposite of H. Perfect. So we go -5 down 7. Here's our vertex. Now, we have an A value of -3, so I'm just going to write that on the side. A is -3.
Oh, I turned it the wrong way.
Okay. So this one's going to go down, which is unfortunate because we won't get much room with it, but it's fine. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to change this to a positive one. I'm going to change the other guy to a negative just so they'll fit on the graph a little more. Okay? So let's say he's a +3. Well, we always start from the vertex. We go over 1. What is 1 squared? 1. But now I have to take that value and multiply it by my A, which is no longer a negative value. It's positive. We changed it. So what is 1 times 3? 3. So I go over 1. I go up 1, 2, 3 values now. Much higher than I would have originally done. And because it's symmetrical, we do the same on the other side. So let's talk about going over 2 units. 2 squared is
4.
Yeah. And I got to multiply that by my A value. Exactly. So we go over 2 and we go up 1. Oops. We go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There is my next spot. And because it's symmetrical, that would be the one after that. So if we look at this, this parabola is stretched in comparison to the original one we drew, right? That 3 value made it much thinner. It's kind of looked like it's been pushed inwards in comparison to the one we drew in black. Finally, let's look at the one we have on the right here. What's the vertex of that guy?
+5 and 2.
+5 and 2. Great. Vertex is easy to find. We go over 5, up 2. Here's our vertex. Our A value, though, is -1/4.
Can you put that into a decimal?
We can. And I'll tell you that what that is -0.25. Okay? But because part of this graphing, because we're getting into quarters and each of our scale is 1s, it's going to be semi-estimating. And I'll show you what I mean here. We start at the vertex. We go over 1. 1 squared is
1.
Times our A value. What's 1 times -1/4?
The same thing.
Yeah.
-1/4
or -1/4. So we go over 1, we go down 1/4. Well, 1/4 of the way is probably about there. We'll have to estimate that at this point, right? And we do the same thing on the other side. So now let's talk about 2. We go over 2. 2 squared is
4.
And 4 times -1/4. And if you put it in a calculator, I'm going to tell you it's actually -1. So I go over 2 and down just 1 unit. So this is looking like it's going to be quite a bit of a different shape than what we had. Yeah, it's going to be compressed. Now I could go over 3. 3 squared will be 9. It'll be an awkward one. I'm going to go over 4 units. Okay, I'm going to skip the 3, okay, and we'll just kind of graph it from there. Let's say I went over 1, 2, 3, 4 units. What is 4 squared?
16.
All right, and 16 times negative 1/4, or a fourth,
Is negative 4.
negative 4, that's right. So we go over 4, 1, 2, 4, and we go down 1, 2, 3, 4. So here's that point, and it's going to be symmetrical on the other side, right? We had to skip 1, right, because we skipped 3. So this parabola is wider in comparison. It looks like it's been pulled outwards to the one we originally drew in black. And that's how we find all of those points when we're graphing this thing.
So is this right? Did I do this right?